So welcome once more to Cherry Red TV, another in our series of Meet the Team, and today we've got with us Matt Bristow, who's our Director of Business Affairs and Licensing, who's actually been with Cherry Red now for 18 years. It's a long time. So how come you survived 18 years?
It's a good question. I think that when I first joined the company, it was a much smaller company than it is now. There was only 3 of us, I think, full-time in the office, plus yourself, obviously. And, you know, it's the great thing about working here across that period of time is that, you know, I've been part of something that has really developed and grown and adapted. And I've learnt about lots of different areas of the business, got experience in, you know, a vast number of areas. And I think the kind of ability to keep things fresh, removing from those type of areas, that's probably why I've lasted as long as I have and still going strong to this day.
There's always new challenges, isn't there? That's
Absolutely.
An important thing. So you actually, before you joined us, I think you were working in TV, weren't you?
I was, yeah. I had a role at a post-production house in London, working with editors and producers from the BBC and independent production people, but always looking to get into music.
Because you were a bass player in a band, weren't you?
I was, yeah.
Were you a good bass player?
Competent. Yeah, I mean, I came to it very late. I didn't actually start playing in any way until I was in my 20s. So for me, just, you know, getting into a band and sort of playing the London gig circuit, that was fantastic. I was, you know, I was more than happy with what I did there.
So what's your actual role at Cherry Red? So what do you actually do every day? Every
day is different because I look after many different areas of the company. As my job title suggests, business affairs is obviously one of them. So I'm dealing with the contractual side of, you know, when we make deals with artists. I'm dealing with the contractual negotiation side of that. And then the kind of less enjoyable side is obviously dealing with disputes that happen around contracts. You know, which when you've got a catalogue of our size and you're buying it sometimes third hand, you do get people that come out of the woodwork and dispute rights and things like that. So that's one part of what I do. I also head up the royalty side. So, you know, whenever we sell records or downloads or streams, syncs, whatever, we obviously have to pay artists. Got a team of 3 people there, of which I head that up. And I also head up the digital side. So way back in the day, about 15, 16 years ago, when we were just selling physical and, you know, digital started to rear its head as part of the business, I took on the task of readying our catalogue for digital and making our early deals with the likes of iTunes. And that has expanded greatly in those years, and, you know, been joined by lots of other big digital services now, you know, likes of Spotify and Amazon getting into digital music, etc. YouTube and Google. And, you know, also the platforms that we use to market our catalogue, like Facebook, YouTube, etc., Twitter. You know, that has all come to be part of what that department does. Also head up the publishing department. So again, about 15 years ago, we kind of restarted our in-house publishing division. And you gave me the honour of kicking that off. So we now control around, I think, about 20,000-ish tracks that we are the publisher on songs. You know, always looking to sign new writers, and we've had some really good relationships with writers, and obviously then once we've got it, we're looking to exploit that material where we can. So, you know, looking to kind of license for physical exploitation, looking for sync usages, that kind of thing. And I also look after the sync and compilation licensing for the master side of the catalogue, which is obviously much bigger than the publishing. So, you know, we're out there trying to further relationships with music supervisors for film and TV and advertising, and trying to get our stuff used as much as we can, you know, wherever possible. And we're also licensing to other labels for physical compilations. We're licensing lots of albums out for vinyl, which has had a big resurgence in the last few years. I think that might be
Sounds
it.
a lot,
Leaving
Matt.
anything out? I don't know.
Sounds an awful lot that you have to
Hopefully
do.
not.
And you
Yeah.
started off pretty much as the office junior, didn't you? When you
Yeah,
came?
it's my first job in music. I had no previous experience, and I kind of came in at the bottom and worked my way up.
And so what advice would you give to somebody that wants to get to work for a record label?
I think for me, the main thing that you can do is really try and get as much work experience as possible.
So work experience means to go to a record company and you work there, for nothing, don't you, for a week or two or whatever, and
Yeah.
pick up experience and get to meet people.
But importantly, while you're there, use that time, you know. If this is what you really want to do as your career, don't just sit there and stuff things into envelopes, you know. Ask questions, talk to people, ingratiate yourself with the people that are there, and you'll leave a mark, you know. There's been a fair few people that have come through the doors in my time that came for work experience and ended up working here full time. And that's because they put their head above the parapet and actually talked and asked questions and showed real interest and desire to work in the industry.
Yeah.
And I think if you can do that, keep going to as many places as possible, if you leave a mark, someone will remember you, and that's a good way to get your foot in the door.
Good. And finally, like many at Cherry Red here, you love football.
I do.
But your team's a bit of a dodgy team. They're not doing so well at the moment, are they?
They did fantastically well last season. I'm a Wolves supporter. It's my hometown club. All my life I've supported them, which has been a real roller coaster. We've been, you know, to the Premier League, and we've been as low as the old 4th division. So I've seen lots of highs and lows, but you support your team through thick and thin, and I always will.
It's a bit like a record label. There's always ups and downs, but you keep at it and support them, and you see where the adventure leads, really.
That's right.
Okay,
Yeah.
Matt Bristow, thank you very much.
Thanks, Ian.
Okay.